Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 4 of Around the Barrel. It is me, Zach, in case you guys didn't know that, and I'm here with my good buddies.
Hi, this is Cash.
What's up? It's Hef.
This is Nick.
My name is Courtney.
Courtney had something pretty toasty for us to meme about today.
I don't know if it's toasty. It's
It just needs to be dank.
Oh, it's pretty good.
So I guess we're diving right in. I've been doing some reading about the whole DC and Marvel Universe stuff, specifically creative stuff going on, creative control in the two companies, the two studios. According to an article on Salon.com, I found reports of a massive shakeup at Warner should be surprising to absolutely no one. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the studio has tapped John Berg, executive vice president of WB, and Jeff Johns, the chief creative officer at DC, to head up DC Films. With Berg and Johns, Warner Bros. Is attempting to unify the disparate elements of the DC movies with a seasoned film exec and a comics veteran that together hopefully can emulate the way Marvel Studios has produced its films under the vision of President Kevin Feige. So essentially, they're basically saying that every single Marvel movie thus far has been headed up by the head of Marvel Studios, which is why directors have shifted so often and like why a lot of the movies don't really have differing tones that much, whereas all of the DC movies thus far have been under the direction of the director of the film. It's basically creativity's in the hands of the director with DC and in the hands of the execs at Marvel. And I guess I just kind of wanted to, get some ideas from you guys, like where you think the creativity should lie. These are both massive studios. Marvel itself has grossed $10 billion from films since 2008.
Damn.
So they're financially successful, but everyone's considering Batman v Superman a failure, and it did $870 million.
Yeah, right?
I didn't think the movie was bad. I think I'm in a vocal minority with that area. I mean, how many of you guys have seen Civil War? How many of you have seen Batman v Superman?
I have not.
I've
Either one of those.
I've seen Civil War, but I haven't seen Superman vs. Batman.
Okay.
I've seen Civil War, but not Batman versus
BVE.
In terms of what you were talking about, though, especially with Marvel and how they've got the direction of like one person as opposed to DC going with the producer, you can kind of see where that goes with the movies. Marvel has got that Avengers feel. It's got that Guardians of the Galaxy feel. It's got all that other different kinds of movies that they have to it.
You want to know why? Because of Stan Lee, the end.
It does, but like I found something recently. So Ant-Man came out. It was one of the lower grossing Marvel films, but it still did pretty good.
It was amazing. I loved it.
Lower grossing. I didn't say it was bad.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright originally wrote the screenplay. Edgar Wright is the director of films such as Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, really?
And he wrote a screenplay, and it got turned down from Marvel because it was too much of an Edgar Wright film.
That's understandable, though.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, I guess I'm in the side that's all by myself. I think the creative vision should always be in the director's hands here. I guess I'm way off here. You guys are starting with the studio.
I guess in a sense, because it's the initial intellectual property of like the original creator of, say, like the character or like, say, Deadpool, for instance. Mm-hmm. If they're gonna have the writer/creators of that comic book or whatever on the set or on the actual filming and want their input, they should probably have like a good say-so. Because I mean, this is their vision, this is their creation, and they're like, if the director or the producer or whatever for the movie itself is pretty much saying, hey, we want to turn him into like a female character instead or whatever. I mean, do you think an actual like writer or creator of that comic book would be like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, fuck it, just literally take what I made and just
the people who write the comic books have like no say in any of this. It's all the Marvel board and the Marvel execs.
Well, and a big thing, especially with DC, is that there's no actual thing as quote canon for DC.
Exactly.
There is a
there's like 190 Earths, aren't there?
Wow.
I'm serious. There's so many different alternate realities that they have in DC.
Think of all the memes
insane.
and all those other universes.
Dude, they're all terrible.
They're so dank.
And they're so dank.
Now there is a fan-made canon, but it's just there's no official canon, which is something to think about for
Even
the directors that are in it, because they can just come up with their own thing.
Yeah.
And if the fans don't like it, sucks to be all of us.
It sounds like an oxymoron having a fan-made canon.
I mean, that kind of goes back to what you were saying, though, Cash, with the director being able to take it where they want to. If you notice, that's how it is with every DC movie. And the way Courtney was saying with Marvel, it's all under one direction because they want Marvel movies to be
my favorite band.
Like this. Whereas DC gives that open-ended kind of do whatever you want with it, but just make sure that we approve it. Because
it's not so much that, like, okay, so as being the authority on Batman vs Superman in the room, because I've watched it once.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's a scene in the movie where the movie abruptly stops to plug future Justice League films.
Spoiler.
Which seems kind of
Spoiler alert, Superman dies.
Spatman dies.
Spooperman.
Sort
No,
of.
there's a part like right when the Batman versus Superman fight starts that they basically stop the movie and start advertising for the future Justice League films.
Like it's almost like an intermission type thing.
It cuts to Wonder Woman in a hotel with a laptop, and
Wow.
she starts going through files, and it has the other members. It has the Flash on there, it has Cyborg, and it has Aquaman.
God,
Is that
And
it?
it's yeah,
Ew.
and it's just her watching these videos of these people existing.
Did you say ooh, Aquaman?
No,
No, it was
suddenly
Cyborg.
those three.
There's no.
I don't know. I've seen
I mean,
I've seen a few
Aquaman
things for the
makes
Aquaman
sense.
movie, or at least like looked at some stuff for the upcoming.
And it looks cool.
It looks fucking
looks
dope.
Yeah.
My
I mean,
point
it's
is
like, it's Khal Drogo. Come on.
Yeah.
my point is that like that is where DC is policing. They're policing in terms of like make sure you advertise our upcoming product.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like Zack Snyder put that in the movie at that point as like a middle finger to the WB studios. Like, oh, I have to put this in here. I'll put it in at the peak of the fucking action. Get ready for your $870 million failure.
But that's also
No.
where you can differentiate between DC and Marvel, because DC directors come to them and they're like, I want to make this movie. And Marvel's like, we want you to make this movie. And they tell them where to go. And DC, they've already got everything leading up.
Well, yeah, but like it's not always like okay. So Civil War, for those that have seen it, and if you look at the media, it's a success. Fucking awesome movie.
Oh yeah. It grossed way more than
Oh yeah.
Superman versus Batman.
Not even financially, from an artistic point of view, successful movie.
Oh yeah.
But you look at Age of Ultron, who had Joss Whedon, that has a great track record, especially with the first Avengers. The movie ate dicks. That movie consumed
So
a bowl
bad.
of phalluses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
I'm
one
not a huge
cool
fan.
scene, and that's all it had going for it.
I only like the Black Widow flashback scene, which apparently there's talks of a Black Widow standalone movie.
Yes.
I'll support the piss out of that. But I don't know. It's frustrating that these. I don't know.
No, something to remember. No, let me be clear before I say this. Usually, I'm not an MCU fan. Usually.
My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical
MCU. I really, really liked Civil War. I thought that what they did was really great with that.
Yes.
But just in general, the MCU has not been my favorite because it's all about the segue to the next movie.
Exactly.
But that being said, the DC cinematic universe has been following in the footsteps of Marvel and just taking that template that they've been producing.
They're trying to.
Right, they're trying to.
Yeah.
And it,
I mean, you can't argue with what is working really well for them right now.
I mean,
For
yeah,
them,
the
it's working.
execution is poor.
Yeah.
Like, they had the right idea, Jack, and the execution is poor on it.
see, but it worked for Marvel, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for DC. And obviously, it's not working for DC.
Yeah. I heard it so eloquently put as the producers of DC were like, oh shit, Marvel just did Guardians of the Galaxy. We should do Suicide Squad.
Yep. Yes.
Because they can do it, we can do it. We have money. We're sort of big.
Hell
yeah, let's do that.
Margot Robbie's hot. Let's make a movie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
A good friend of mine recently, no, I haven't seen Batman vs. Superman yet, but a good friend of mine said that they'd prefer to have that movie called Bad Assassin vs. Super Douche. Because apparently, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but apparently, spoilers, Batman kills people in that movie.
Yes. It's like a Frank Miller Batman movie. And
It's like an Injustice.
Fucking awesome.
Which, to some Batman fans, that's outrageous and should never happen.
Well, that's Frank Miller's Batman in the graphic novels and the comics and such. He had a
So
very
there's going to be a
dark-
few people who
yeah,
are going to be
but like
butthurt about it.
super early Batman, under DC's Detective Comics, totally snapped people's necks, everything. Just, it was whatever for him. But that was a very different Batman.
But then Christian Bale came along and wouldn't snap any necks. And then yelled at people on the set of Terminator.
I'm not wearing any hockey pads.
That's what he yelled on the set of Terminator.
John Connor. I'm not wearing hockey pads.
So all the TA
I
hunters
always-
are wearing.
I
That's
had
why
a-
they're
I
like
had
so
a-
indestructible.
I had a friend
Just kidding, I didn't want them.
who watched The Dark Knight for the first time, blazed as all hell. He said, I'm not wearing honky pants.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
So it's like, what? That's
not
what I
wearing
hear
any
now.
honky
I'm not wearing
pants.
honky pants. I can't tell if that's racist or what.
I'm a little bit offended.
Shut up. Awful lot of honkies in this room.
Whoa. But I honestly think that it should, by and large, be in the hands of the actual creator of the said comic book. That's just me personally.
Well, the issue is
There
that
needs to be at least some middle ground at least
Well,
between
you're not
director
wrong,
and
but these
creator.
execs are not the creators of the comic book. Now they're directors. The creators of the comic books are not involved. Period.
Well, they did have for the Deadpool movie. They did have the writer. I think it was probably the latest one. Yeah, they actually had them on there because I think they were probably, I don't remember correctly. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that the writer was one of the producers. So was Ryan Reynolds as well. Was one of the producers.
Yeah, he
for
was
the
one
movie
of the
as
producers.
well.
That's correct.
So there was at least some say so in there.
Well, Deadpool is like just accepted as a success. Like that's just a good film.
So good.
But
Fucking love that
as far
movie
as
so
like,
much.
I guess my beef, and I'm not siding with either Marvel nor DC because all the flaws in their films can be traced back to the execs.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some of the forced character interactions of Age of Ultron were terrible. Like shame on you, Marvel. Like what they did to Black Widow in that movie was just dreadful.
To all of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
None of those characters
Deserve
deserve that.
any of that.
But then, they've been getting like these follow-up movies and stuff. So, like, I mean, you go from the Avengers movie, and then of course Captain America,
Oh yeah.
the Civil War came out, and then of course you have like these things that kind of like make it more, kind of like have a means to redeem themselves. Like
Okay.
they have a way to be like, oh well, here's that character again. Let's kind of forget
Well, yeah,
about what
but
happened in Age of Ultron.
It's, I guess when we say what they did to that character, we mean like writing wise, like what the
Yeah,
writers
yeah,
did to
yeah.
that character.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to redeem the character in another movie. As
True,
far
they
as, like,
shouldn't, but they
poorly
have the
written
ability
books.
to.
Wait, just taking a step back, something I thought was hilarious. Okay, spoilers. In the comics,
Spoiler.
in the comics for the Civil War, Thor is dead.
Oh!
Like, but in the MCU, it just cracked me up how they just dismissed
He
that.
wasn't there.
thought-
Because
I thought-
if he picked a side, that side would have won. That's
Wait.
the issue.
I
Well,
thought
and the Hulk
no,
was
no, no.
gone too.
Yeah.
No,
Just
I
gone.
thought Thor wasn't dead. He decided not to fight because he knew that he could make it super one-sided. So he went
No,
back
he
to
was dead.
Asgard.
No, he couldn't because like that was
He's
the
dead.
reason. No, that's what.
He comes back, but he was dead.
Well,
No,
see, I
he doesn't
thought-
come back in the
Is
Civil
that
War.
is that like in the comic books?
See,
Is
I
that
thought
like
he
an
just,
actual
I thought
canon?
he just
Okay.
went to Asgard. He was like, I'm not taking part of this.
No, somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Oh, they'd already corrected you in the comics.
Correct us in the comments. Write a comic book about how wrong Nick is.
But from what I understand, Thor is dead in the Civil War, or by the time the Civil War comes around. But I think it's Tony Stark makes a robot Thor, and the robot Thor comes in and crashes the party and does all this crazy
And then becomes
stuff.
But
Ultron.
it's played by Robin Williams from Bicentennial Man.
Oh,
That's
God.
the robot Thor.
Uh,
I'm okay with that.
but that's a whole different bit. But I just thought it was hilarious how they just kind of passed it off like, "Where's Thor?"
Well, I mean, honestly, in the movie, the reason they had to get rid of like Thor and the Hulk was because they would be the only two fighting each other. Like they would have to fight each other because the other two would absolutely destroy the rest.
They also
You
like,
had-
if you didn't notice, they also excluded Nick Fury. Like, and they said that like he's like the father, and they said it would have really made it one-sided if Nick Fury was in it and had to pick a side.
Oh, yeah, because,
it
like,
really would have weighted it.
Because they
and
pretty
made
much
it
govern over the Avengers, don't they?
Like
Shield does.
something they did. I'll let you get to it here in a minute, Zach. While I interrupt the
Okay.
piss out of you. One of the things that the writers did really well, and I guess you can thank advertising for this too, because they've been pushing like Team Cap or Team Iron Man, is keeping it like the ambiguity. Like it's totally open for discussion. Who's right?
It really
I've
was.
seen everywhere like. They advertise it, like pushing it, like, are you on Team Cap or Team Iron Man? And I was like, this is kind of an annoying ad campaign. The weekend that movie came out, I had probably like 5 different people at like work. I've had some of you guys talk to me about it. I've had some of the guys on like the internet world talk to me about it. Everyone's asking me, like, so what team are you? I'm like, oh wow, this actually worked.
Team Iron Man.
Yeah, Team Iron Man. Like, honestly, Team
Duh.
Iron Man. Yeah.
I'm with Captain America by the end.
So, back to the Thor being dead thing. So, he is in fact dead. We were both right. He goes back to
Are you
Asgard.
fact checking?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
He goes back to Asgard, gets fed up with Loki so much so he tears his head off and kills him.
Damn.
Realizes that Asgard is going to basically destroy itself and be reborn, and to save it, he rips the fabrics of time, keeping Asgard anchored to everything else. Doing so kills him. So,
And then Cable shows up. And
Iron
fixes
Man,
everything.
Yellow Jacket, and Mr. Fantastic create Ragnarok, the robotic Thor who eventually, spoiler, kills Goliath.
Right. And then that sets off this other big whatever.
Giant fucking chain reaction.
I really hope the director's cut of Civil War is just a 2.5-hour movie of Thor ripping off Tom Hiddleston's head.
That would be
It's just like those.
Like, I love Tom Hiddleston, but God, that'd be.
he'd be doing a fan service.
That movie probably would have to be rated R.
I mean, that's where they're going. I mean, already the next X-Men, not Apocalypse, but the one after, has already been confirmed rated R.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Deadpool changed it, man. Deadpool changed the game.
Thank God. So, I think we've talked enough about Marvel, the series that everyone seems to love except for me. Hef had something else that's super duper spicy and dank for us.
New hardware.
Ooh. What kind of new hardware, Hef?
Spicy new hardware.
What you got for us?
So I believe the 26th, 27th of this month, they're releasing the new GTX 1080 card, which is an 8 gig just monster. I was looking at some of the specs earlier. Some of the first run demo numbers, just to give you an idea of how powerful this thing is. For a single card, not in an SLI setup, The Witcher 3 at 1440 with full hairworks on, that means including self and all NPCs in game. 74 frames per second.
Which is amazing. The human eye can detect 30, and a better trained eye can detect up to 60.
How high can you run Marvel Universe on it, especially if you're playing on Team Iron Man?
I would imagine 600, dude.
Frames per second?
You got that extra processing from playing Iron Man.
You ever watched porn at 600, not 600 frames per second, but like 60 frames per second?
At 600?
It's really weird.
It's like you're in there.
Dude.
Literally in there.
Which is amazing. So what about that price point there? So real quick. So if we're looking at a 980, the current, powerhouse besides a 980 Ti. A 980, which I paid for recently, was about $450. A 980 Ti, you're looking at about $900 to $1,000.
Just for a GPU?
Yep. So how much would we be paying for a 1080? Or at least a 1070, which is stronger than the 980.
Right. The 1070 right now, they said will be released at a later date. It'll be more, I guess, down the road in June sometime. But that one's only going to be like 300 and 350, 370.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. How much are they saying the 1080 is going to be?
And the 1080 is only going to start at 6.
Oh, damn, son.
We're not getting sponsored for this, by the way.
We are not. We are just amazed by the powerhouse they have.
We're getting paid so much money for this.
Not by them, though.
NVIDIA, if you're
hashtag
just
not
pay me in a
sponsored.
GTX 1080.
We can't lie to you.
Yeah, NVIDIA actually sponsored this to be Hef's Hardware Corner.
Yeah, segment.
Well, that's actually good news for me because I'm looking at buying a 980 this year, and that'll bring the price of those down to a lot more comfortable level.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as an owner of a grand old 980, I can fairly say it's made a huge difference in playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
JK, but it has made a huge difference.
I hate you so much.
In playing things like The Division and even like Warhammer Eternal Crusade, the game was buggy as it is right now, which is an alpha. But on my 660 that I was running, it was kind of laggy, and I can only play it in low. With the 980, I'm playing it on ultra at like 120 frames.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I'm smashing heretics and saving the Imperium.
Joke's on you, we're all heretics.
Exactly.
Yeah, I figure 980 is one of those cards, even if I get it now, it'll last me 3 or 4 years.
Dude, that's why I got it.
That's
It's
what you
dope.
think.
One good thing, too, about NVIDIA, I don't want to say only NVIDIA, I'm just a big fanboy, but
Well, I mean, Radeon's kind of garbage.
I'll agree.
about there being a lot of like constant innovation in the GPU department and just in general for PC users is you could go out and build something right now that can compete with a console at the console price. You know, I mean, you could build like a micro ATX build with a high-end 700 or a low-end 900 series card and keep it around $400 or $500.
However, if you are going to do that, you need to look into water cooling because stock cooling in a micro ATX is not smart. It overheats very quickly and can cause permanent damage and shorten the life to make it a throwaway computer that you probably wasted $400 to $500 on.
Zach's safety tips.
That's
Zach's
what I learned today on Hef's Hardware
Corner.
House. Corner.
Hef's
Hef's
Porn
house.
House.
Hodor
The Triple H. Yeah, what you call it? The Hef's Hardware House.
House.
So the price point on that NVIDIA, by the way, is also super low after my tech safety tip there. But getting into literally hotter, danker memes, I think Nick has some exciting news for all of us that we've probably talked about.
It's old news, but we've not talked enough about it.
It's still
You
news.
cannot talk enough about this.
Has anything actually come new? Like,
Shut up and let him intro it.
do your thing, dude.
November
Slut.
18th. I'm so excited. Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Daddy's drunk.
A couple of weeks ago they introduced the new starters. Does anybody have a favorite?
Lytton, dude, are you fucking
Lytton?
really?
The name alone's got me sold.
Got me lit.
It's Lytton, fam. That's what I would name it too. If I ever got it, I'd totally name it that. The
So
end.
Lytton is this fiery cat of awesome.
Fiery kitten.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool.
Cad.
I gotta say, I gotta go with Rowlet on this one. I'm usually like
Yes.
a grass
What about-
type.
I have a fucking owl tattoo. Like, I can
Yeah, I like
Okay,
owls, you know.
So, to be fair, I usually go with the grass type, but it's a fucking kitten starter. How can you not?
Yeah, but
Watch
the owl
me,
has a
bro.
grass bow tie.
But
Wait a minute.
Poplio, he's got a little bonnet thingy on.
He's also
Okay,
water type.
So I haven't played much of
Leo.
many of the Pokemon games probably since like after like Yellow, maybe.
Yes,
I mean, I
I
played a
know.
little bit of the other ones, but I'm just saying.
There's been a
Why would you?
couple.
Why would you? Yeah, no way, dude. When did this?
There's been a couple.
My question to you is, why would you pick the grass type when there is a metric fuck ton of grass Pokemon to choose from right out the goddamn gate?
Realistically, there's also not.
You
right
go
out
for the
gate,
fire
there's
one,
a
dude.
metric
Charmander
fuck
was
ton
always
of
the
fire
main one.
That's the problem.
Actually, Bulbasaur was the best pick out of the gate because
No
he
way.
conquered the
Yep.
first 3 gyms very well.
Not only that,
You could-
not only that,
you-
all
that's
the
what I'm saying,
grass
you could-
starter or all the grass types you find are dog shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
dude.
here's
Yes.
going to be the fun
Only
thing about...
after you got past their cocoon stage.
Oh boy, Bellsprout.
What were you saying, Nick?
Here's going to be the fun thing about Rowlet, though, because if you go against an ice type against this thing, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yep, because
Yeah.
he's grass.
Grass
flying.
and flying.
Right.
And
So,
he
I
gets
mean,
dropped straight to the fucking ground.
But he's also cute type, so
Times
my
4.
heart is what really wins here. That's all I
true.
care.
So
It's
what
true.
Courtney is saying is when he goes to the beauty pageants in game that they will have, like they have before, he's
They
gonna
better.
win every single
I
one.
mean, my name is Courtney.
Those
You
are
know,
so-
I
No,
win
I'm
effeminate
sorry.
things for a reason.
Have you guys noticed how much hate Poplio is getting now?
I have. I think it's unwarranted.
It's the internet. What do you expect?
He's a water type, and there's always hate for water types, but he's a cute fucking.
The internet
show
derives from the Latin word internet for a bunch of people getting angry for no fucking reason.
Is he a sea lion?
No, he's a show seal.
Ha!
Like he is a sea lion, realistically.
Oh, he's got
but
like a little
show.
clown.
He's a
outfit.
seal
Yeah,
you take
he's
to
a
shows.
show seal.
You
He's
take
even
it to
got the
shows,
clown
it
nose.
throws down, and it seals the deal.
The cat does look pretty
Litton
awesome,
looks like
though.
he might sell you some drugs.
Dude,
Dude,
yeah,
why
he
did you
just
think-
he looks awesome. Do they have they shown any of the evolutions yet?
No,
not yet.
and
Oh,
I'm so
really?
excited.
Those are
Oh, wow.
literally the only Pokemon that they've shown.
Not true, the legendaries.
Well, okay.
But they've
yeah,
not
the
shown us
legendaries.
their names.
They're on the box, let's be real.
On the box.
Okay, so
bags.
from the Pokemon-sunmoon.com, I just want to read a little bit from what they have to say about Litten, and it just cracks me up. Litten can attack with flaming hairballs.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
Its
amazing.
fur is rich in oils and immensely flammable. Litten grooms itself by licking its fur, and then uses the collected fur as fuel for fireball attacks.
So does that mean
That's-
if you hit
that's
Litton
great.
with a fire attack, it's gonna just like light it on fire immediately?
But it's immune because it's a fire type.
I'm suing Game Freak. I'm done.
I really hope that the fire hairball attack is faster than my cat's hairballs. Because if not, it's just gonna be you're just gonna be 20 minutes of him sitting on the floor like.
I hope it's easier to clean up than mine.
Dude,
Try heaving like an 18-year-old who just drank vodka for the first time.
Half we have to dress Jerry up like Litton. Like this Halloween,
He
done
can go
deal.
as Litton for Halloween.
So,
It's gonna
does
be
anybody
amazing.
have a favorite past Pokemon game?
Any of them that aren't Black 2 or White 2.
Amen.
He named half the
Yes.
franchise black,
You
white,
just
silver.
made that so
Yeah.
racist.
I'm a Gen 1er.
That's actually me. I'm
That's
just
because
like
that's the only ones you've played.
Crystal was
because I
absolutely
didn't
my
keep
favorite.
going after
Crystal?
Pokemon until like after
what
middle
they-
school.
That's when they implemented the animated sprites, which I really liked.
Yeah.
I remember being like, I don't know, I was probably about 10 when that game came out.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I was finished with it, quote, quote, I had like 200 hours in it. It was so much.
Holy
Because
shit,
it was
dude.
so good.
I'd say Ruby Sapphire was probably the combo when I
Okay.
played the most of. Because I recently went back and replayed it on Omega.
I'll definitely probably say like probably Leaf Green and what was it Fire?
Yeah,
were
Fire
so
Red.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I went back because I found like an emulator for my phone. Don't sue me, Game Freak.
Mine has to be Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum because
Huh.
they've got a lot of the originals in there, and I do love the original Pokemon. It's just a lot of nostalgia for me.
I never actually played those. Don't hate me.
Platinum, Diamond, and Pearl is when they implemented competitive play as well, and the
Okay.
actual like super training your Pokemon and all of that fun stuff. So I remember there were times where my friends from high school we'd get I can't remember what the fighting. That's not really fighting, quote unquote. But it's basically Pokemon Stadium, but it was for the Wii.
Yeah.
But you could sync up your DS's, wirelessly connect to it, and battle your friends on a big screen with the graphics for the Wii. And so we'd have like 15, 16-man tournaments every other weekend. And it was just a lot of fun. I mean, I really liked it. That's
For nostalgia purposes, yellow will probably be mine just because, childhood and such. And I'm a Gen 1er, like I am, out of not playing any of the others. That being said, I did get Soul Silver and enjoy the absolute piss out of it.
definitely.
While we're talking about Gen 1, when the hell are we going to get a new Pokemon Snap?
Probably not.
Never.
Yeah, probably not.
not.
But it was so good.
Besides,
It
hey,
was
you
good.
Pikachu.
I'll give you a hint. They're gonna announce it in the trailer for Half-Life 3.
How cool would
I
it be
believe
though
it.
if they did it like free roam?
Okay, so for an actual Pokemon
Yeah.
MMO like that, I could feed the Africans with the amount of tears I'd be giving out. That's right, feed them.
Well, I mean, because Snap was on rails. You were
Yeah.
collectively riding a minecart the entire game.
Yeah.
So what if you could explore? Like you had different biomes and had to go find these.
Or what if they just made a fucking like MMO Pokemon game where you capture them and then you could like the photo thing wasn't like an added thing to it. Like
It's called Pokemon Go.
Well, see, there's
it's not out yet, so I can still
It's
do
going
this,
to be
thank you.
Pokemon. I mean, I feel like that's what's going to be the next Pokemon Snap.
There's a browser-based game. I can't remember the name of the website. 'cause
The
it's been
Brazzers based game.
years ago. That is a Pokemon MMO where you get to pick from one of the 3 original starters
Yeah.
and you customize your character sprite. And you start off and there's just an ass load of people.
I saw that and it looked...
It's at
Gross.
the time, it was really cool. Looking back on it, it was garbage and poorly made.
Glad we brought it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I figured, you bringing up Pokemon MMO, there has been one. It wasn't good at all.
I mean, let's be real. It's Nintendo, and when is Nintendo made?
Nintendo didn't make it.
I know that. I'm just saying, but how many Nintendo games how many games on any kind of Nintendo system have been MMOs? Like other than
So
like
I'm not even asking
fantasy,
for an MMO.
like,
I would
Fantasy
just
Star.
I'd like an open world RPG of Pokemon. I'd like a Skyrim of Pokemon.
There is.
essentially.
It's on the GameCube.
It's called the Pokemon Skyrim mod.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It's
the one
Just
Tom
turns all the monsters and stuff out in Skyrim into Pokemon.
I can't.
You have to fight them yourself.
It's a Charizard that shows up in the first scene.
I can't
Oh,
remember
yeah,
the name
that's
of it.
what it
It's Pokemon something. Basically, the premise is you are
That's
Really
That's a good name.
yeah you're a trainer and basically like it's either Team Rocket or Team Plasma, but they've basically taken over. They've succeeded in what they wanted to do, and you have to go around and catch their Pokemon and release them because they've become the dark versions of the Pokemon.
Are you making this shit up?
No, it's a GameCube game. Our buddy Ben Oliver actually has that game. It's not a bad game. It's not a good game.
It's definitely a game.
It's definitely a game.
It does exist.
So I've got a little bit of not necessarily, it's not really news, but I'm just really excited about the whole aspect of VR gaming and stuff because there's been like a lot of stuff that's been popping up now, especially with the release of the Vive. And I've noticed a couple games that are like, of course, in demo right now. Hopefully they're going to come to fruition, but I feel like these are going to be the seeds that are going to grow into greater things for the VR, I guess, community or like system essentially. So the 2 games that I've actually watched, one of them was called Project Arena, and it's essentially a Tron disc game.
Yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah,
Looks really
That
and it
super
looks
badass.
so cool. Like you literally have your 2 like your controllers and stuff, and you have your VR headset on, and you can you have a disc, but it attaches to like your forearm, almost like a shield, and so you can actually use it as like a deflector for the other person's shield. But apparently you get 2 charges for it, and they're actually want to make this into like an esport. Like they're hoping this is like wanting to become like an esport. And hopefully VR actually kind of evolves a little bit more because, I mean, right now it's a little bit basic to the point where it picks up certain movements, but it's not like, oh, you can actually move and run around in a small
It's not
designated space.
super responsive.
Yeah, we're not quite there with it.
Pictionary is pretty much the most intensive thing we've gotten so far.
Like not the VR game, like the original board game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you put the headset on and just hope to God you're drawing on the board.
Yeah, but it actually picks up the motion from the actual VR headset and the actual controllers. So the controllers actually act as a kind of like a pivot point as to where your actual torso is. It actually like you can actually dodge to a certain extent, which is actually what they're wanting you to do primarily because you only get 2 charges. Like, I guess it's like on a cooldown to actually deflect with your actual disc itself. Then of course you can actually launch it, and it actually bounces and ricochets off with very accurate geometry and ricochets and stuff that you would see like in the movie
So
Tron.
you have to
or whatever.
physically dodge these things?
Yeah,
It says in parentheses on the cover of the box, not for studio apartments.
not for narrow hallways.
Definitely for narrow hallways.
But
So
that,
there have been a few games that I've seen in VR that look really awesome. Specifically, like the scary games. They're made for VR.
that's
Oh my
that's pretty much
goodness,
what
yeah.
it's made for right
so there's that, and then there was that one game. You're in this little office cubicle, and these little robots tell you how to do your job, and it looks really cool.
now. Oh yeah, you weren't here
Job
for
Simulator.
it. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about it a
Job
little bit for
Simulator.
last
Oh, we
time.
did?
It was,
Okay,
it was called
sorry.
Job Simulator.
So there was that one, and but I also saw another one that looked really terrible and crazy buggy. It was this circus place. I don't know how to describe it. You're these circus acts the whole thing was just really buggy. You were supposed to toss these gymnasts into a fly trap thing.
A Venus
Sounds
flytrap.
awful.
Yeah, and it looked awful. And so here is my impression of VR, and here is Nick's prediction on how VR is going to go.
Nick predicts.
That's our new segment. New segment. Nick predicts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nick Predicts. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba.
Hey. I think that it's going to be a lot like the Wii, where it's really awesome technology,
In theory.
and a few games are going to do really well with it, and then you're going to have Skyward Sword.
Oh,
I had high hopes for that game when the Wii came out, and it just flopped.
And then you're going to have Twilight Princess. Like, just all of those games that are supposed to be so good, and then you just end up shaking the controller.
Sitting on the couch and not doing anything.
I don't think that it will succeed.
Wait, you said Skyward Sword?
Yeah.
That was a Zelda title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of there was some game that like came out. It was like called Red something, I think, and you actually you use a sword. You actually use a Wiimote to actually like do sword fights, and you can do like online and stuff. That's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
there were a lot of games that were supposed to
did not
be
work
like
well.
that
Oh,
were just meant to be incredible and just didn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they did happen, just not well. So I'm afraid that's what VR is going to turn into.
It may become that in the short term. I think that it's one of those things that we've always had as sort of this like end goal in gaming. You know, like they even tried to do VR back in like the 80s and 90s. You know.
Yeah. I remember having one of those. It was terrible.
Yeah. So I think we are at the technology level now where we can actually do it without it being more of a hassle to play than to actually.
We have the tech level, so it's do we have the creativity level?
It's also the implementation, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like to implement it properly without forcing it. Kind of like the new Star Fox game, how it got like, Earth's core like low fucking reviews because like the force like control movement. Like they're trying to purposely make use of the second screen experience, and it's forcing a feature no one fucking wanted.
That no other game
It's not
uses.
an advancement. It's not good, and I'm not gonna say VR is gonna go that way, but a lot of developers are gonna be doing that. They're gonna be remaking some terrible game that's gonna just use VR like as a hook, but it's not gonna actually do anything.
It's gonna be Overwatch VR, and you can only play as Diva.
Oh my god!
Well, and the Kinect was a lot like that too, because they had all these big plans for it, and it's what you said. They just lacked the creativity.
The good news is the Kinect wasn't a system, so Microsoft didn't eat too many dicks for that.
Yeah.
So real quick, since we are talking about VR, I think we should specify a little bit better. We are talking primarily about the HTC Vive, one of the ones that just came out recently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the two paddles you can hold on to, whereas the Oculus has only just recently demonstrated itself as the helmet.
Yeah.
And the earpieces.
I'm a fan
I'm
of that personally.
I'm not.
I'm not, because the HTC Vive has that triangulation sensor on
Yeah.
it that lets you actually physically show yourself. In some games, you actually can show yourself inside of the virtual reality world.
I don't know. I don't really have an argument for it. I'd like to sit down with a controller in my hand and just look around, have it follow me.
They should have the option for it.
I feel like in the same way.
I'm sure they will.
I feel like it's going to hook the same way the Kinect did. The Kinect actually had games where the Kinect features worked. I remember when the Kinect first came out for the 360. A buddy of mine had it. He got the generic Kinect Land or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah.
We played some like water rafting game where he had to get in there and like paddle on either side of the boat. The features worked fucking phenomenally, and it was fun. That night, we never picked it up again because it's a gimmick almost. The idea of VR, the headset, looking around, the field of view, that kind of stuff is phenomenal. I think the motion sensor hands are going to turn into similar to the Wii U second screen experience. It's going to be a gimmick. People are going to try to make content for it. It's not going to catch. There's going to be a few unique things, like the Tron thing you mentioned. What was it called again?
It's called Project Arena.
I think that'll take off. There'll be some cool things. It's not going to be a feature that's going to hook people.
It is. I definitely see it that way. Me personally, I like the full no controller thing, other than like the actual two little like VR sticks they give you that actually are picked up by the sensors itself. Primarily because I feel like that adds a little bit of immersion to it. I've never played on any kind of VR system whatsoever, but I've heard numerous times people are in there, they're like, oh my god, this is so real, this is so real. Like if they didn't have the cords coming down from the back of it that actually hook up into your PC, they would literally think that they were actually in this world.
Well, I mean, you showed me that Markiplier playthrough. Like, well, Brooke Brookhaven?
It was called the Brookhaven Experiment. That was
Yeah,
another
yeah.
one I was wanting to get into.
Like even the graphics weren't super on that.
It wasn't,
He
yeah.
was saying like the immersion was insane because of the movement and everything.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I was wanting to like kind of segment into, was the fact that I think first person shooters will absolutely take off. I feel like that's
Yeah.
going to be the absolute rebirth of first person shooters, because in the Brookhaven Experiment game, you're pretty much in the middle, like what looks like a park during like this like kind of apocalyptic setting or whatever. It's kind of dimly lit.
it made me think of Cloverfield because of the
Yeah,
monster
that's
at the end.
yeah, that's what I was thinking as
Yeah.
well. But you literally stand there. You can't move your character around or anything, but you just fight these waves, and it's a demo to let everybody know. And
I think I've seen this one.
in your left, like you can, in one stick you have the your flashlight,
And then
the
you have a
right one
pistol.
you have a pistol, and you actually aim down the iron sights of the gun.
That was a cool feature. I'll
Like
give
you
you
did
that.
not have any crosshair. You had no reticle of where you were going to shoot
You just had to
until
hold it up.
yeah,
Yep.
you literally had to aim your controller like the little stick.
How you
and
held
actually,
the stick in real life is how you held the pistol.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that before, where they had some like random chick play, and she just freaked out the whole time and didn't shoot anything. But was it like zombies almost?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like mutant zombie looking
Yeah.
things. And it was just a demo, just like I guess kind of just to show what could be done with it or whatever. And that was kind of like what sparked me to bring up this topic, because I think this is going to be the absolute new future. Because I mean, look at it this way. I'll say this: I am not a huge fan of Call of Duty, but I'll use it as an example
Carl on Duty.
because everybody knows I love Call of Duty so much. I'll use it as an example. Just take playing online with people, but you have like your VR headset. So you say you have like a joystick on your controller, you can move your character around as normal, like in the actual game. You have your buttons to reload and everything, of course. But you can actually turn your head and actually aim your gun at somebody and like actually use a little bit of skill as well. It'll actually add a huge skill
then
curve
there
to you
goes
as well.
75% of the community.
Well, true.
Skill.
Actually, yeah, Call of Duty is probably a terrible idea or a terrible,
But
terrible
the
example.
idea of creating
Yeah.
a first-person shooter where
Because it made it,
almost it's like actual, if you're able to fire a firearm in real life, those skills will transition to this, because you
Yeah.
actually have to be able to aim down the iron sights and such.
that too.
I mean,
That's
they
a very cool concept.
They started implementing something like that in like testing. They had it at, I want to say, the Game Developers Convention recently, where they had the VR thing, but they've got that giant circle and they hook you in, and they've got a treadmill beneath you. that
Oh,
moves whenever you
Yeah,
move.
yeah, I've seen those. I
And, like,
haven't
you-
done too
you-
much research on
You
them.
run forward, but they've still got the crosshairs. I think that's just more or less trying to make it easier for the actual controls, but you're the one moving and running and walking and controlling everything, more or less.
See, that's what I'm waiting for. What was that movie that you and Greg, The Island or Island? What?
It was the island, yeah.
Yeah, where they actually had that. Like they did some kind of like fighting game, I think was what it was like. And you actually they had like a little pad or like some little treadmill thing that they actually ran on, and they just fought using VR. And that's what I've been waiting for. I was like, oh shit, that's such a cool idea. This is going to be probably the definite future of like gaming.
I
Like
think
we're going to
I
probably
think
be.
the worst part about this is that I've had to hear the island reference so many times recently. Because now there's this. And then
I haven't thought about that movie in
There was that whole
forever.
thing where they reused a shot in the most recent Transformers film from the island. So it's like I'm having to hear about this so much. I'm like, oh, Ewan, what'd you do to yourself?
What about outside of
You were the chosen one.
VR porn, definitely. I
Oh,
heard
yeah.
that.
Let's
shit
not
was
get on that
awful.
topic.
You could have some,
Let's please not go way
So,
down
okay.
low.
but you
So-
could have some really awesome like cinematic experiences.
Yeah.
So that
I'd even love to watch a movie on something like that. It would
Exactly.
be cool.
That actually reminds me. Hef just mentioned, what about something outside of gaming? I actually saw pretty recently here that, and this is on the topic of porn, coincidentally enough, it sparked
Oh, thank God.
fired some neurons in my little brain.
This episode of Around the Barrel is brought to you by porn.
Red Tube Barrel.
By
Red Tube Barrel, God.
Hashtag not
We are getting
sponsored.
paid by them.
But a group of hackers actually hacked into Pornhub and gave themselves administrator access and got a bunch of personal account information, could change what videos posted where, had free reign of the site basically. And it wasn't one of those, because Pornhub recently apparently said that if you can exploit our website at all, we will give you $25,000 if you can give us proof. And this person was like, fuck that bounty, I'm just gonna exploit it for my own personal gain. And so that's
Just
what
probably
they did.
stole like millions of dollars of funds from them and stay like,
Exactly.
fuck
They
your
could-
25 grand.
They could basically, from what I understood and was told from this little segment that I was reading, they could basically steal, I think it's 326 million videos, just like that right then, because they had complete access to it. And I thought that was crazy. Like, who texts Pornhub? Like, they're so nice to everybody. Whenever you
That's why
see,
They give you porn.
whenever you see some shit go down, Pornhub's like, we got you, fam.
That's exactly
You-
why you don't
it's-
make a claim like that.
It's
We got that
it's
boner for you,
Valentine's
fam.
Day. It's Valentine's Day. We'll hit you up, fam. Shit's lit.
I'm glad we went from VR and Zach was like, I have a really good segue.
Well, I did. I mean, Hef said something outside of gaming, and I feel like this was a big deal.
I think he meant like VR outside of gaming.
Yeah. I mean,
Hey,
more
this is outside of gaming.
It's entertainment.
See, there you go. And let's be real. All of us at one point in our life have been to Pornhub. You can say no, and I will call you a liar.
No,
You are a liar, sir.
you're right.
I love you, but you're a liar.
What
I
is
just wanted to say
porn?
I've been there the past 24 hours.
Me too. Like,
I've been on it the whole time we've been doing the podcast.
dude, where do you think I play Hearthstone?
On Pornhub.
On Pornhub. I play Hearthstone on Pornhub.
I mean, on April Fools, they turned it into Cornhub. How
And
can,
it was amazing.
how can you not?
They won the internet that day.
Basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
Basically what I'm getting at with this.
They released analytics the weekend of the Overwatch beta that the amount of searches for Overwatch porn increased by like several 100%.
And the keyword tracer.
Yeah, tracer was the number.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
during the butt controversy?
Yeah.
There?
Butt controversy.
Because I think I'm all over
Post
YouTube. We look
simulator?
fun of
Yeah.
again.
Buttgate 2016.
Okay,
My kind of gate.
SJWs, calm down. We're just fooling around here. We're just goofing.
You're triggering me, dude.
Having a gaff.
You're triggering me.
Having a good old
Stop.
laugh. Dude, it's just a prank.
I'm getting triggered.
Hey, social experiment.
Speaking of which, Overwatch is next week.
It
That
is
is
6 more days, boys.
Oh boy.
And then it's high noon for like ever.
So, what's everybody gonna play? Who are they gonna play? on
McCree.
Overwatch?
I'm going to be playing those 4 guys at the very end over there.
Yeah.
The support.
The Sapoots.
Lucio, Mercy.
So you're
Metra.
gonna be playing Mercy then.
Mercy is the #1 most overpowered character in the game.
Lucio's
Like, I'm
so
sorry.
strong.
Mercy's
though.
badass.
Yeah,
Like,
Mercy-
even
Mercy
just the lore
is-
and the character design. I want to get the special edition of the game just so I can get the Mercy Valkyrie outfit for my Diablo 3 character.
It's not special edition, just if you pre-order.
Oh, bitch.
Because I've
Yeah,
already
I'm
got it.
pretty
Oh,
You got a
boy.
week,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
If you pre-order it, you get a baby Winston pet and WoW. You get Mercy Wings and Derbablo. and you get it's Derbablo's Creed 3.
Blizzard, hire us. We have better project titles than
Dude,
you.
we really do. You get Tracer and Heroes of the Storm, and you get Overwatch kind of design
Card
card
backings.
backs in Hearthstone. That's just if you pre-order it.
Good
A lot
lord.
of stuff.
Yeah, I want
Derbablo.
that.
I've always called it Derbablo.
I didn't hear anything else you said after you said Dabablo.
That's all right. A
It's
lot of
okay.
people
You don't
listen.
have to say it again.
That's okay.
Sounds like what Bill Cosby might call it.
You got the Derbablo and you put it in the chocolate pudding.
You played in the Pablo and putting your pills in the girl's drink.
We are not sponsored by Bill Cosby.
I swear I
Definitely
didn't.
not.
I didn't drop the pills in the Derbablo.
Hashtag not sponsored. So, do we have a question?
Yeah, Cash's question of the week.
Oh,
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da.
I
Cash's
do?
question of the week.
I do, and actually brought this up to Corny last night while we were
God, yeah.
drinking heavily. If the listeners have listened to all the podcasts so far, hopefully you picked up on the fact that I am a big person like who loves nostalgia. Like I love stuff from my childhood and even just stuff from yesterday. Oh man, it's so nostalgic. That drinking last night was so nostalgic.
Yeah, it was. Girl.
So he's
That's
doing it
why.
again
That's why I'm
tonight.
doing it again. I had so much fun doing it last time. I was like, that would probably be really fun again today.
Remember what a good lunch that was today?
That turkey sandwich my mom made back in 4th grade.
Dude,
Damn, that was the best.
When I was making those vegetable nuggets earlier, that was dope. I hate you.
It's a
Anyway.
bad question.
Yes, what's our question of the week?
So I'm gonna go back in time to my childhood and ask everybody, what cartoon do you think needs a reboot for 2016?
Teen Titans.
No,
Not Teen Titans Go. We need Teen Titans because they just cut it off.
that's
You
true.
didn't prep me for this question. Now
Yeah, man, I
I
gotta
never.
think about
What
this
have I
one.
ever prepped any of you? I think this is like the first time I prepped anybody. Like, cause he knew I was just like,
And I
okay,
still don't have an answer.
yeah. He's had like
to go first
he's
so I
had
can
like
think
a
of
good
something.
like 18 hours to think about this.
Well, you tell us your answer first so we can think about it for a bit.
Yeah, if you know it,
God,
go ahead.
I just fucking said mine.
The cartoon that I think that needs a reboot is gonna be
Puff the Magic Dragon.
Reboot.
Oh, fuck
I forgot that existed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
you. They should,
That's actually not my answer. I just like I actually thought about that when we were talking about it. I was like, that
They
would be
should-
fucking
they
high.
should, they should reboot Static Shock.
I'd be okay with that.
It's a really good show. Really good WB shit. Oh my god, Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yes.
That's my answer
Yep,
right there.
yep.
Things that aren't Jackie Chan.
All things.
Oh my god, that show was funny.
Man, have you got the talismans?
We're not sponsored by racism.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
The bad thing is that I actually didn't think too hard on this.
Way to go, Cash.
Um,
if anyone should have an answer, it's you. You've had 18 hours to think about
Yeah,
it.
I've given
Yeah, that's
2,
true.
and it's been like a minute and a half.
But there was drinking involved.
I
Well,
know.
we're
I've been
proud of
doing
you,
it the
Zach.
whole time.
Okay, so I have an answer for Hef's Overwatch question 9 hours ago.
What was that?
I'll be playing Pharah. Now let me think about this.
I'm gonna go off. Oh, I know. I remember. Yeah, because we actually did say this. Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh,
Rocko's
hell
Modern
yeah.
Life needs a 2016 reboot.
Dude,
They don't
keep
need to
it-
change a thing. They just need to bring it back and just keep doing more episodes.
Keep it fun, keep
Just-
it sexy, keep it hot.
I don't
That
even want a reboot. I just
show-
want like episodes that play all day. Like I want a Rocko's Modern Life channel that just plays reruns of the
Well,
old
they
show.
can do that as well. Like they can bring that shit back and make new episodes in the same
Kickstarter
format.
idea. Boom.
Oh my god,
Can I do 2 answers, like one serious and one comedic?
I did because I did reboot.
All right, my serious.
That was your
answer-
serious answer.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, serious isn't serious.
go ahead.
Well, that's not.
I'll allow it.
Whatever.
This is my
The
segment.
first
Everybody
one
else
is
got their
Samurai
segment.
Jack. The first one is Samurai Jack.
Oh my God,
That's
yes.
that's already being done.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
There's
happening.
already a new series being made for it.
Kev over here divining the future. Damn,
And
son.
wishes come true.
You must have been on the
You
internet or
can't
something.
define the future what's already been
Number
said.
number two is probably the Angry Beavers.
Oh,
We already
actually
talked about
we
that
actually
last
talked about
night.
that as well.
Yeah.
Norbit and Daggett.
I just want to see the
Norbit.
last episode where they go full meta. They never aired it on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Where it's basically the writers giving Nickelodeon the finger
Right.
for canceling the show.
Was that the Tom Kenny show?
I
don't
don't
think
ask me.
so.
I'm not the authority.
I don't think he was in it.
Give me a
I
second.
don't know a whole lot about beavers around here.
Yeah, just IMDb. though.
I think so. I had one idea that immediately came into my head. Duck Dodgers. That was a
my
pretty fun show.
God,
Daffy
I
Duck
see
on Cartoon Network. There's another show, and this is my actual serious answer. But I don't want it done by Nickelodeon. I want it done by someone that could take it hard, rated like PG-13 minimum. R would be awesome.
Netflix.
Danny Phantom.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude, if you did like
Yes.
a dark, gritty reboot, I know that's like what everyone does nowadays, like everything's dark and gritty, but like an actual, at least mature reboot of Danny Phantom. Oh shit, that'd be so. That show was
Listen,
awesome as
I mean-
it was.
I mean,
Listen,
look at-
you want a mature reboot of Danny Phantom? You type in Danny Phantom,
Roll 34.
and then you got a mature reboot.
That's not really a reboot. That's just been kind of ongoing.
But it's what you're asking for. Let's
That
be
is what you're
honest.
It's not. I just. Oh, never mind.
What was the God damn it? Oh yeah, because I mean, look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like that was almost a dark and gritty show as well. Like I know you love it, Courtney.
Oh, yeah.
Like
So-
you and me have like
Korra-
watched that.
Korra kind of took it a little step further.
Yeah,
It
Korra
did.
was
It really
darker. Like
It was darker.
People actually
Nickelodeon
died
said,
on that show.
okay.
But not
we can't
nearly
do
as
this.
good as I thought as Last Airbender. Last Airbender was like probably one of my favorite cartoons
I disagree, but
Yeah.
I am not going to argue it because I think both points are valid.
because you're wrong.
I like Korra better.
You're wrong.
I cried on Korra. So.
Nick, what you got?
All right.
All right.
Danny
I feel like
Phantom was such a good answer.
Yeah, it was.
Such a good answer. It's not a cartoon. I'm going to cheat. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I'll allow
Really?
it.
It's a nostalgic
That's,
show.
that's,
I'll allow
the,
it.
that's that
Okay, it's a
game show.
nostalgic
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope.
I
I thought they were actually bringing that back, weren't they?
Are they?
Alex is nodding yes, because I remember, like, I vaguely have remembered seeing something where they're bringing that back to
Okay.
like Nickelodeon or something.
Okay, cool.
So you need a new.
So I'm
answer.
pretty sure if Hef and
We did
Nick
this to Jason
feud,
last week. They're like,
they'd
nope,
be
need a
able
new
to
answer.
decide whatever happens in the future. So we need to make that happen.
I'm pretty sure America's Children would have a hard time doing Legend of the Hidden Temple nowadays. 'Cause they are
Dude, they
out of
were
shape.
bad back in the day.
Hey, no,
Like, I remember-
actually, the
I
next
remember-
generation coming up is much more in shape than we were.
Yeah, they really are.
True, but I'm
They
just
got, they
saying.
got hoverboards.
I remember watching that show, and every time they try to put that fucking golden monkey statue together, I'm like, how hard is this? There's like 4 fucking pieces.
Oh my
And the top
God.
of it's the monkey head. And they're like, they're like rotating it like they have Down syndrome. I'm like, just get it right. And I was a kid at this time. This is before the anger and alcoholism set in. I was so furious at watching that shit.
I can't
as a
imagine
kid.
a not angry cat.
I feel like that was the start of what I am now as an adult.
Now I feel
Cash
like
comes
we
out of
should.
the room with a full beard, and no hair.
Now I feel like we should.
And a beard head.
And a hatred of golden monkeys.
Just me bugging.
You
Just
walk out of your
screaming about
room
Legend
and your
of the
mom sees you with the beard and no hair.
I didn't even
drinking
cry.
a bottle of
I didn't
beer.
cry. I just started
happened to you?
yelling at people like, oh!
The goddamn monkey!
A Killian's just appears in your hand.
I feel like now we have to rip some old like episodes of this show and get you drunk to rage at it.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Oh, well, that's not hard at all.
It's actually going to be a TV movie.
What? Legend of the Hidden
Wait,
A TV movie.
like
TV
hour-long
movie?
episodes or like a legitimate movie?
But it was a game show.
That's- Yeah.
A movie implies a script.
Is it going to
that's
star
told.
Nathan Fillion?
Is it?
That's important.
Is it
Okay.
gonna be like
Him or
a
Jack Black?
documentary?
Or,
Cancel it now. Save the money.
Well, that was Cash's question of the week. So from now on, we're gonna be hoping you guys put some questions in the comments for us because that's what we want.
We want you guys.
Makes it a
want
little
well,
bit,
yeah, primarily.
makes it a little bit more fun for us. No holds barred, as you can tell. But does anybody else have anything?
It's National Sim News Day, so put your phone numbers in the comments and I'll send you names.
Yeah, I've already sent a
Or
dick
don't.
pic to Courtney.
Yeah, so I sent him a David Hasselhoff pic.
Yeah.
Something.
Goodbye.
Something Mr. Kaiser showed me. We were talking about the Pokemon Sun and Moon earlier. Pokemon has announced that on June 2nd they're dropping the next big piece of information concerning the game. So here in about 2 weeks from this recording day.
In about 4 hours.
About 4 hours and then 2 weeks. Expect big news on Pokemon.
Yeah. Wonderful. Also, on top of the Pokemon Go has started taking in registrations for their field testing for the Americas. So if you haven't done that, Google search Pokemon Go registration. Should take you to the Pokemon Company's website. And
Literally everyone in the room just pulled out their phone.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one that has already registered for it.
I was
registered
actually
the
looking
day
to
it became
see-
available.
June 2nd will be one of our podcast days, so maybe we'll have some news for.
Oh, yeah.
for
Oh,
everybody.
that'd be good.
baby.
Yeah.
We'll be giving you guys some hot dank memes on June 2nd.
What?
Sponsored by Red Barrel.
Sponsored by Red Barrel.
Hashtag not sponsored.
All right, that's all we got.
Goodbye.
Yeah, that's about it. If you guys liked it,
Like it. Thanks. Later, nerds.
Give us comments.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, we've all seen Futurama. You know how they like travel in tubes in the future? In 33,000 years from now, 2,000 years from now, 1,000 years from now?
In the 41st millennium?
Yes.
It's
in the 41st
It's definitely 1,000 years. That's the.
that's the whole idea. Anyway, they travel in tubes, so
Good news.
but they're individuals. We are testing currently. The United States is testing a way to transport people. You go from 0 to 60 in like 30 seconds, I think, and you can reach a optimum speed of 200 miles an hour. The test track was built in Texas, and
So have they tested living things yet?
that was not in the articles that I've read. I don't know if living things, but I kind of feel like
It's like I don't know, man.
Wait, it's not like a bullet train type thing. It's actually you're sending shit through a tube. And